Yes, guys, welcome back to the MMA Sucker channel. I'm Fraser Crone. Before we get started, as always, like, subscribe, drop a comment if you disagree or agree with what I'm about to talk about. I thought I'd just drop this quick video on my opinion on the top 5 knockouts of 2024 so far. 2024 has been a big year in the year of MMA, in for MMA. We've had, the emergence of the PFL and Bellator merger. We've got the first couple of shows from those guys. Of course, we've had a number of big UFC pay-per-views and a number of big fight nights as well. So I'm just going to kick it off. Top 5 knockouts of 2024 so far. Coming in at number 5, I'm recording this on Saturday, the 4th of May, before UFC 301. So I could be talking about the new flyweight champion of the world, Steve Erceg, as he knocked out Matt Schnell at UFC Vegas 87. What for me was most surprising about this one is that it came down at flyweight. Now, at flyweight, we get a lot of TKOs and we get a lot of submissions, but we don't often get a lot of one punch knockouts. Steve Erceg, let's not forget, the majority of his finishes come via submission. He's got a good ground game, but against Matt Schnell at UFC Vegas 87, Erceg put on a wonderful boxing combination. The jab upstairs, the straight to the body, the massive hook upstairs, knocks out Matt Schnell instantly, and arguably it's the knockout that got him the UFC 301 title shot. Could I be talking about the new flyweight champion? Only time will tell. Coming in at number 4, I've got Dakota Ditcheva's finish of Lisa Maldine at PFL 1. What made this such a big and good knockout for me is that we got to see a full range of Muay Thai skills on offer from Dakota Ditcheva, as we're becoming more and more used to week on fight for Dakota Ditcheva. There was a lot of questions about Ditcheva going into this fight. She obviously won PFL Europe last year. Could she make that step up to the full tournament, as it were? And boy, did she. She smelled blood from the first minute, a slick hook to the body, Muldean covered up, Ditcheva, like I said, smelt blood, that finishing instinct, a vicious knee sent the American to the floor. She managed to get back up. They separated, created a little bit of distance. Dakota reset, landed a famous front teep kick to the body, followed by another hook to the body. It was all too much for Muldean. She dropped, and the referee stood in after a number of ground and pound shots. A wonderful finish from Dakota Ditcheva, and one that we're becoming accustomed to now. Number 3, Ilia Topuria shocks Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 298 and wins the featherweight title. Heading into UFC 298, there was a lot of questions about both Ilia Topuria and Alexander Volkanovski. Volkanovski, obviously, coming off the knockout loss, up at lightweight to Islam Makhachev. He, suffered that loss to Makhachev by split decision, and now he suffered a knockout loss, his first knockout loss of his career, and I think, and definitely his first knockout loss in the UFC. Let me just check if it was his first ever knockout loss. I think it was. And there's, all these questions at 35 years of age. Are Volkanovski's too old? He's too punch drunk. So no, sorry, apologies. He lost by knockout in on the regional scene when he was 3-0. But obviously, yeah, he lost to Makhachev by split decision, bounced back with a wonderful performance against Yair Rodriguez at featherweight. Then was knocked out by Makhachev. A fight up at lightweight, which he took on short notice, it's worth adding. But a knockout's a knockout. Like I said, there's a lot of questions about Volkanovski's age heading into this one, old man Volk and all that jazz. And he was coming up against Ilia Topuria, a man who was undefeated, heavy hands, big knockout power. The knockout of Jai Herbert was played over and over and over again in the lead up to this one. But had he bitten off more than he can chew in one of the pound for pound greats, arguably the best featherweight we've ever seen. Maybe Jose Aldo, maybe Max Holloway, but let's not forget Alexander Volkanovski had beaten Max Holloway, who we may go on to talk about later, 3 times. What played out did shock the world, I think. Topuria would get the better of the Australian due to, I'll be honest, a defensive flaw on Volkanovski's part. He tried to shoulder roll a lot in that fight, and You know, he was backing up with his chin ever so slightly in the air. Topuria prolonged a 5-punch combination, which saw the fourth punch be the one that knocked out Volkanovski. It's a huge right hook, separated Volkanovski from consciousness instantly, and a couple of ground and pound shots not only ended Volkanovski's night early, but it ended his entire featherweight reign. Will these two rematch again? Who knows? Coming in at number 2 and only narrowly missing out on the top spot. And this is one that I was throwing. Is it the best knockout? Is it the second best knockout? I wasn't. It was a really tough decision. But Vinicius Oliveira lands that huge flying knee for the finish. Ironically, on the same card that Steve Erceg landed his big knockout. I think both of these guys got performance of the night, and Oliveira also got a fight of the night. It was a back and forth bout against Sweden's Bernardo Sopaj. Really fun, high-paced fight, lots of action. And Vinicius Oliveira ended the fight in such a brutal manner, skill-wise. It was a phenomenal finish. He landed a savage low kick and a left hook, savage low kick followed by a left hook combination. And it buckled Sopaj, forced him backwards across the octagon. And Oliveira saw his opponent backing up, saw his opponent hurt, and ran towards his opponent, landing a jumping flying knee. No ground and pound shots needed. Sopaj crumbled to the floor. Vinicius Oliveira walks off. Absolutely phenomenal knockout, faceplant knockout to get the victory at UFC Vegas 87. Like I said, that was a really tough one. That easily could have been number 1. But for me, the best knockout of 2024 so far, Max Holloway sleeping Justin Gaethje for the BMF title at UFC 300. What a fight, what a finish, what a performance by Max Holloway. The hype around the BMF title bout at UFC 300 was like nothing we've seen in a long time. The main event, many people thought it was a foregone conclusion before, and how it actually played out. Obviously, that came to fruition. The hype around the co-main event between the all-Chinese strawweight title bout wasn't that huge, but the BMF title bout between Justin Gaethje and Max Holloway, a man who arguably should have been competing for the BMF title bout as soon as it came out, as soon as it came to fruition, was finally getting a shot. Both men were putting, they were risking it all. Justin Gaethje, probably next in line for a title shot at Islam Makhachev. Max Holloway, probably in line for a title shot against Ilia Topuria. He's coming off 2 big wins against Arnold Allen and Chan Sung Jung. What would play out would see Blessed dominate Gaethje for almost 5 whole rounds. Yes, he was dropped, but it was a flash knockdown. It didn't hurt him too much. And he was cruising to a victory, probably 4-1, possibly at a stretch he could even score at 5-0, but it's definitely probably, in my opinion, it's 4-1 in rounds to Max Holloway. 10 seconds left. Justin Gaethje has just thrown a rolling thunder to try and score a phenomenal knockout himself. Why not? He's putting on a show for the fans. He knows that he's lost the fight. Rolling thunder. What's the worst that can happen? After that, in legendary style, Max Holloway gives Justin Gaethje the point of no return, points to the center of the octagon and says, let's put on a final 10-second show for the fans. Let's just swing it out. And as we know, it would be Holloway that would get the better of the exchange, mixing it to the body and to the head. That right overhand landed on Justin Gaethje, sleeping Justin Gaethje instantly. Remember, this is a man that hasn't been sort of knocked out cold. He's been finished a number of times, Justin Gaethje, but he's never been, he's always been finishes on the feet from Eddie Alvarez and from Dustin Poirier. Both of those were pretty much TKOs on the feet. He's never been put out to sleep. Max Holloway stepping up from featherweight, slept Justin Gaethje. A phenomenal finish at 4:59 of the 5th round. Won the performance of the night. They won the fight of the night. He won the BMF title. And as he said in his post-fight interview with Joe Rogan, he is him. Phenomenal knockout. That is my knockout of the year. So far, it's only May, so we're expected to get a number of big knockouts from the PFL to the UFC and everything in between. We've got it for you at MMA Sucker. Like and subscribe on the video, guys, and I'll catch you next time.